listening to the On-Call Empath Show.
Hey, this is Rajmontage coming at you from the On-Call Empath. Welcome to my channel. I hope you guys had a great holiday. I've been going through a lot of my emails, and I wanted to make an episode and dedicate this to all the empaths and trauma victims that have still a lot going on. In this episode, I want to talk to you guys about how to get your old self back. I know a lot of people that I coach and talk to, they always talk to yourself in the past. Like when I used to be young, I used to be so outgoing and I didn't have the same issues that I have now. And, all these problems came on. Maybe a lot of people got married and then divorced, or they went through a bad toxic relationship. One of the questions I get is, how do I shift my mindset? How do I go back to that old person? And my answer to you guys that are listening is, after any grief, any loss that you have gone through, you have to go through a grieving process. So if you're still dealing with, a toxic person from years of abuse before, you might be carrying that today. And it might affect you in all aspects of your life. But the truth of the matter is, if you've gone through any type of trauma and you feel like you're just not the same person anymore, there's hope for you. And so in this video, hopefully by the end of it, you can make sense of it and how you can shift your mind and maybe not go back to that same person that you were before. Maybe you come back better. Maybe you have new insight. But I'll tell you one thing, you are not ever going to be that same person, because we're always changing, we're always evolving, always for the better. And just think of that. See how much you've come, how far you've come in life, how much you've learned. Actually, listening to this podcast or this YouTube video, you're taking action. You know what's going on. You know what you have to do to heal yourself. And even not just myself, like you can be reading books, listening to other YouTubers and podcasts, and learning about narcissism, red flags, gaslighting, love bombing. And there's so many different things that you can educate yourself so you don't make the same mistake again. And that's what I'm going to talk about here. Let's say you're listening to this, you've been through some trauma, some narcissist abuse, and you just kind of push it off. But you notice throughout the day, you may not feel it as much. You might be smiling and laughing with your friends, but there are pockets of time where it comes up, just like a flare up. Like you'll notice it. It'll be like a flash, and then you'll think about it, or you'll drive past some place, or or a certain smell or touch. Something will get you to start reminiscing about this. And what I see with a lot of my clients is, what they do is they try to push it away. They try to resist. They try to force not thinking about it. They will force eat, do addictions, overwork, binge, whatever they can. Now, I want to tell you the reason we do that. Of course, we're going to do that because who wants to think about the past? Who wants to think about those dark, dark days when there was nobody around you? Nobody would understand. You did reach out to certain people, they just weren't getting it. You tried every method. No matter what you did, those thoughts would keep coming. And what I'm telling you guys is, don't force it. It's just like the clouds. Let it pass. Just, you can look at them. You can acknowledge that you're getting these thoughts in your mind, but don't resist. Don't try to stop your thinking. Go into it. Go at it. I mean, a lot of the things that I do is I get pretty mad. I'm like, okay, bring it on. How can I go towards this fear that I'm trying to push away? The reason I do that, because I know it's not going to hurt me. I want you to think about that. It's just thoughts. It doesn't define who you are. It's just bad experiences from the past that are coming in to knock on the door. You don't have to answer it. You can look and watch them pass. And guess what? They do pass because it doesn't stay forever. If you notice, like your past memories, they will come and they will go. And so that's why a lot of us reminiscent about going way back before we met the narcissist or the toxic person, how you were a free soul when you were doing so many things with your life. You're happy and you had so many friends and you just didn't have any major thoughts like this. But I'm here to tell you, you can shift your mindset. And to do that, you have to let go and just observe these thoughts, these past things that cannot hurt you anymore. They're done. Now, if you're currently in it, if you're currently being abused now as you're listening to this podcast, you can still apply the same things until you can get to a safe space. You could still do the work. You can control certain things in your life that the manipulator or toxic person can't. You can control your thoughts because you are control of your own thoughts. Nobody can make you feel a certain way unless you allow them to. And I know that's a lot easier said than done when someone's manipulating you, being very toxic towards you, like boss, somebody that you love. But if they don't work in your life, they don't work. They have to go. So those of you that are in it, I feel for you. And the only thing that I can say is there is hope and you can shift at least your mindset. So make sure that you're working through this with somebody. And I say this to all my clients. Now, if you're working with, a coach, a therapist, a friend, make sure that you're not, being stuck or being in a victim mentality where it's like, it's only happening to me. Why me? Because that's just going to make you more in this black hole that you could just never get out of. And it's just snowballs. And no matter what I say, no matter what anyone says to you, it's just going to go right through you. It's going to go through one ear out the other. Only you can decide when it stops. And I know that sounds crazy. It's like, why, how can I, if I could make it stop, I would. And I understand that. But at the same time, you have the power to say enough is enough. Yes, you're going to have these thoughts of going back in time and being that loving, joyful person. But in order to get to that person again, what do you think you have to do? You think being the victim and constantly thinking about, the past and what they did, do you think that's going to get you closer to that previous person, or do you think it's going to get you farther away? They're looking for other people to make them fulfilled, maybe jumping into another relationship, maybe going to a new job, quitting the old one, and they keep doing these patterns, just getting rid of certain things and then looking for others to give them the answer. And that with life, there is no one shot. There is no one magic pill that's going to bring you back to that old person or make you happy again. It's a process and it doesn't happen overnight. It's constant work. And even I've noticed, like if I have one thing off uh, during my day, I'm going to get these thoughts. So what do? I make sure that I have things in place so I don't go to that dark place. And finally, the last thing is there is no time frame and you can't speed up the process. A lot of us want immediate gratifications. I want to get over this person that abused me all my life. I want to move on. I want to meet somebody. I want to start dating again. I want to get a brand new job and I want to change my career and I want to better myself. Whatever is going to happen is meant to happen, is going to happen. But you have to understand that you can't force it. You can't speed up the process by faking it or saying, yeah, I got it. I'm healed now. Let's jump into this. Everyone has a time frame and everyone has a different number. And so I want you to really think about that. If you're really interested in going back to that old self, it won't be exact carbon copy of that person that you wish you were before, because we're always looking up to someone else to guide us, to get us through. But I want you to picture that you are chasing your future self. You are chasing excellence. You are chasing that person 2, 3, 4 years from now. And I'm going to leave you with this last exercise that I use for a lot of my clients. And I want you to pull out a piece of paper. If you're driving or listening to this podcast, definitely do this later when you're safe and you're parked. But I want you to write just maybe a couple lines in very, very good detail 1 year from now, what your life looks like. 1 year from now, we're ending this year of 2021. I want you to write what it's like. It's say 2023. You went through a whole year. What does that look like? What do you want your life to look like? Who are you with? What are they wearing? What part of town are you in? What does your lifestyle look like? What does your kids look like? What does your job look like? What is your, I want details down to what you're driving. Feel the leather on the car while you're driving it, or the clothes that you're wearing, the air, the breeze that's going through your hair, you smiling. And I want you to get as close as possible on how you can get back to your old authentic self that you're missing. Now, here's the kicker. You might even be better than that. You might learn so much during the year. But after you've written this detailed blueprint of what you are in the future, I want you to review it for 30 days and see what happens. At least once in the morning and once in the evening before you go to bed for 30 days. And then I want you to stick it somewhere, like in a bathroom, in your office, or somewhere, laminate it. And I want you to look at it. Now, you might be skeptical and you're like, this hocus pocus is not going to work. What do you have to lose? That's my question, number one. And two, I'm living proof that it does work because I tried it myself. And this podcast is proof. When I had 0 people on here, I wrote in advance that I would have over 150 guests and be the top 10 recovery podcasts. And how did that come? Was that just coincidence? I don't know. I can't explain it. If you want to call it law of attraction, so be it. I don't want to label anything. But if things are not going well for you, what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I urge you, write down on a piece of paper, keep it somewhere safe. And then 1 year from now, take a look at it. See how close you got to it. And you'll be surprised on your findings. So I hope you guys, I wish you the best of the new year that we're going into. Stay tuned for the next season 3 episode, where I'm going to have more high profile guests from all over the world that you do not want to miss. And if you guys need coaching, you know where to reach me. All the links in the bio. Feel free to reach out, and always keep moving forward. Happy New Year, guys. Thanks for coming with me on this journey. Stay tuned for a lot more high profile guests coming on this podcast, and have a great new year. Peace.